thank you, Kathleen, for having us here today. We are in the Royse City ISD, Royse City High School College and Career Academy.
Yes.
We're in the what is it? The Bulldog Cafe?
Yes. So this is our Bulldog Bark Bistro. The kids like to call it Trip Bees. You know, they like to nickname things. So that's our nickname for this area. We're very proud of this area.
Well, thank you for having us here today.
Yeah.
And you are the CTE director for Royse City ISD, correct?
Yes.
All right.
That's right.
Awesome.
Yeah.
So we're here today to talk, talk about the curriculum instruction framework package.
Okay.
So talk to me a little bit about what made you want to join this package? What made you want to come in and be a part of this? What problems were you looking at or trying to solve?
For sure. So I started this role about 3 years ago. And right whenever I began in this position, I noticed right away we didn't have any curriculum for CTE. Everything was teacher created. Everything was just teachers making it, looking at their different resources, trying to pull things together, but there wasn't a solid curriculum for CTE in our district. So I was, a little concerned about that. We are a fast growth district, so we're hiring new teachers all the time. And it's really hard from my perspective to hire a new teacher and, hey, here you go, here's 3 new preps for you, but I don't have any curriculum to give you to help you while you're starting this position. So I reached out to you because I remember just being like, help, Michael, I need help. And you told me about the instructional framework package, and I think it just began there, and we just hit the ground running and haven't looked back. So.
Well, great. So coming into it, what was your goal or expectation of this? And then how has it changed now that you're in your second year of the program or about to finish your second year of the program?
So I guess coming into it, I really wanted that teacher buy-in, right? Because our goal is to do what's best for our students. That's our end goal, to make sure they're prepared for whatever they dream to do after high school, whether that's career, military, college, going straight to trade school, whatever that may look like. We want them to be prepared for that. So that's kind of our goal. So going into this, I wanted to make sure that we were all creating that curriculum that met the expectations and the standards for industry and the workplace, right? Also, my goal is to make sure that we have all of the resources that teachers need to get there. We have 26 programs of study in Royse City High School, and that number keeps growing every year. That's 120 courses. So that's a lot to keep up with for our teachers and for us. So we wanted something standard that was aligned where we could look across our different programs of study and make sure that we're vertically aligned too, so that kids actually have that growth from year to year, right? And they meet those expectations. So that was really important to me, to see that growth of that child throughout the programs of study.
That's great. Yeah, you mentioned 2 things in there. You mentioned curriculum and resources. In your mind, what's the difference between curriculum and resources?
So curriculum is kind of like our playbook, right? That's what we go by. That's what we're going to teach our students. That's the skills they need. That's the end goal, the learning goals, the objectives for the kids. Resources are just there for teachers to utilize for things like practice. Maybe they need a presentation or an idea, right? That's a resource. Curriculum is truly what is going to be learned by that student, what the end goal is.
Yeah, so you just mentioned y'all are a fast growth district, and those resources and the curriculum are going to be very important moving forward.
Yes.
Y'all are opening a new high school in the 27 school year. That's fantastic.
Yes, we're excited about that.
So tell me, how has being part of this curriculum instruction framework package, how has that changed your vision as you move forward and add in programs and then add a second high school? Right. And talk to me about how that has changed.
We're a very tight-knit community. So we've decided to duplicate all the programs at the new high school. Equity is really important to us to make sure that students across our district are getting the same experience. Well, if you don't have a good curriculum in place, how do you know that that's actually occurring? Right. So that's been a big goal, is to make sure that we're aligned and that we're having those program of study conversations to where we make sure that kids across the different campuses are getting the same experience. Whether they go to Worthy Fate High School or Royse City High School, they're getting that same experience and those same opportunities, because it's all about opportunities for our kids.
Yeah, so you really want to create that uniformity. So if they're going to one high school and they move to another one.
Right, which happens all the time.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Especially you're having subdivisions pop up everywhere around here. Yep. So as a fast growth district, and as y'all have brought this in, can you talk about examples or instances where you've seen improvement with student outcomes or teacher effectiveness or even alignment to industry skills or industry standards?
Yeah. So we're very lucky because with fast growth, we also have companies moving into our community. So we're able to connect industry to our programs of study, which is very exciting. So part of my role at the district, and my instructional coach helps me as well, is we connect with those individuals to make sure, hey, is what we're teaching actually what industry needs? Are the certifications we're offering our students actually what they need to get those jobs and to get those entry-level positions? So that's been a huge change for Royse City because we used to not have those opportunities out here. We were, once you cross the lake and come out here, it's hard to get the different. So we're very excited about that. So that's been a huge opportunity for us as we grow. For teacher effectiveness, it's been awesome to see through our strategic plan. As you know, you helped me create that. It's a 6-year plan. We're baby stepping into this plan. That was really important to me as a director to make sure that I did something that was actually feasible for the teachers and didn't scare them away. Right. So we're fortunate to have a lot of industry teachers that came straight from the workplace. And they weren't trained in curriculum. They didn't go to school necessarily to be a teacher. So they don't have that background knowledge that maybe your math or your English teachers have. So I really wanted to baby step that and show them through our professional development sessions how to develop curriculum, what that looks like, how to break down your TEKs, how to figure out what your assessment is going to look like, how to time that out and plan it to where you have this beautiful curriculum, right? So that takes time. But I'll be honest, when I first introduced the plan, it was a very quiet room. I got the blank stares and the uncomfortable body posture. Mm-hmm. And so I was a little nervous. I was like, I don't know how this is going to go over. But with that, I stuck to the plan, and that's really important. I feel like if you are very intentional about the plan you create and make sure there's a lot of time and thought put into it to where you don't change it over the course of the years. And they see that she's not going to ask me to do something different every year. We're sticking to the plan. The curriculum's not changing. I think that was huge in getting buy-in. So we're in our 2nd year now, and our teachers are actually getting pulled out to write their unit overviews with their program of study groups. And the conversations have just been amazing. They're enjoying it. They all say it's so much easier than I thought it would be. The process is amazing. And so we're just having really great results. And I think that's directly impacting our children. So
you touched on it a little bit. Can you talk to me about how did you really foster that teacher buy-in into this program? You have the plan, you're sticking to the plan, but how did you get them to go from this is just a lady who has a plan and she'll be gone in a couple.
Right, we can outlast her.
To really buying in and wanting to be a part of this.
Right. Well, I think a lot of it is, I'm big on relationship building with my staff. And I think that's huge. Like, I really try to listen to my teachers, what their needs are. I think that was something that kind of helped me because I didn't come in with unrealistic expectations. We really baby stepped it in. We started with, the first year, we're going to develop scope and sequences and look at our TEKs. That was the whole first year. And so just having that gradual phase in, I think really helped me with that. And then also a huge thing that I'm so blessed to have such a great administration here in Royse City ISD. So we were allowed some time to pull teachers out of their classroom to actually work on curriculum. So we pull out by program of study groups because we really want that vertical alignment. We think it's important for the 3rd year teacher to see what is happening in that 1st year principals class. Right. So we're pulling them all out as a group and letting them work on the curriculum together so that we have that alignment. And that's been huge.
Absolutely. So what has been the feedback from teachers now on having done all this? And, after they get pulled out, and who guides them through that pullout, and then what's the feedback afterwards?
So I'm lucky I have an instructional coach. So she helps with the actual curriculum development, and that feedback from what I've heard from teachers working with her, they just love her. She asks a lot of questions and lets them really drive the curriculum. She's not telling them, oh, you can't do that, or that's, her job is just to facilitate the conversations and make sure that the documents are being created the way they should. But I think they've loved it because now they're realizing I get to create the curriculum, so when the new high school comes on board, that high school is going to be doing what I created. And I think there's a lot of ownership in that. And I think a lot of pride too. Like that's something to be very proud of.
Yeah. So how has being a part of this changed your view and trajectory of your CTE department or program?
It's been huge for us. I just think about when I first started this position, I was like, oh my goodness. It was everything everywhere. When you have 120 different courses and, 60 teachers.
Absolutely. Yeah.
And no curriculum. It was just chaos almost to me from my viewpoint. The teachers probably didn't feel that way, but from my viewpoint, I felt like it was a little all over the place, a little hard to manage. But now that I'm looking at our plan and we've been able to stick to it. And in fact, I think we're a little bit ahead on our plan. It's just amazing to see the resources that will be there for the incoming teachers as we grow. And then I just think about the impact for students. I think that doing this has not only allowed us to have a curriculum, but I think our teachers really are being more intentional about what they're creating. The assessments coming next year, we've already started working on that a little bit. It's just amazing to see the projects and the ideas and the real world experiences kids are going to have. And I think a lot of that would still be there. Of course it would, because our teachers are amazing. But just, I don't know if we would have the engagement and then maybe the quality and then the extensions if it wasn't for this process. I'm excited for our kids. I'm excited for our future. I'm excited for our community because we know most kids come back to work and live where their parents are. So we're building our community is the way I see it. And I'm just excited because I'm getting to see the kids firsthand of who is going to be leading our community. And that's exciting.
Yeah.
So
what's been the reaction from like your assistant superintendents and executive directors and all the upper leadership, your cabinet, all that kind of stuff in your district?
They're so great. They're really proud of us and they're just letting us go. They trust us. They've been a huge part and they come to all the things that they can come, but they're just really proud of us and they know that we're doing great work. And I've heard rumblings of, certain areas, core areas, really interested in what we're doing. And that speaks volumes when you have a different department wanting to know like, hey, what are you doing? Can I see your curriculum documents? And we're no longer just CTE. I think we're really becoming leaders in the district and we're making a wave for ourselves. Our name is definitely out there.
That's great because that's kind of unusual. It's usually core and then CTE kind of trails behind core. That's great.
Yeah, it's been great.
So what would you say to other CTE leaders that are in the region that may be thinking about doing this or facing some of the same problems you were? What advice would you give to them?
I would tell them to go for it. I really think it's made a tremendous impact on us as a district. I know a lot of people are probably hesitant because maybe they don't have the resources or they think, it's just me or it's just me and one other person. Look, we have 2 district level people in our district and we've made it happen. I know it can work. I know you can do it. And I love this package especially because you meet us where we are. We didn't have anything whenever I first started speaking to you and you just met me where I was and just we worked from there. And I don't think you didn't make me feel bad for not having certain things or deficient. You just met us where we were and we made the plan. And what I really like about this package as well, it's not like a canned package. You talked to me about what my goals were, what our district goals were, and that's what kind of drove how we set up our strategic plan. So that was really nice too.
Well, great. So last question, $1 million question. Yeah. What have you personally got out of this package, being through, you're about to end your second year with it?
Yeah.
What have you personally got out of this package?
Personally, I feel like it's made me a better leader. I'm a better instructional leader. I think I've been able to support my teachers more effectively. When they have questions or they have concerns, I feel like they feel more comfortable now coming to me about that, because I'm not the expert in every single subject, but they know I can help them get to where they need to be. And I feel like for me personally, that's been a huge opportunity through this package that I may not have had I not done this.
Well, thank you, Kathleen, for having us out in this beautiful space in the Royse City High School College and Career Academy. Thank you for joining us and answering our questions and talking with us today. And thank you so much for being here.
Absolutely. Thank you.